Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do some more penetration testing. I did a video yesterday where basically I lined up these 7 barrels, these are steel drums, and I shot the AR-15 through these steel drums with the .223 round. I was kind of expecting that I would pretty much get to the 7th one, but what I found is that the .223 round would only get up to the 3rd barrel and penetrate that reliably. And when I shot it with the 9mm rifle, I found that I could get to the 4th barrel and even penetrate that. So initially I was a little bit surprised, but then when I started thinking a little bit more about it, it kind of makes sense because, you know, here's the thing with the .223 round, right, or 5.56. You know, it's a long, narrow bullet, whereas the 9mm, you know, even though it also has a point, it's closer to being ball-like, right? You know, it's more compact. So what's happening with this, with the longer bullet, right, of the .223, when it hits something, all the weight's in the back. So when it hits something, it basically wants to turn over, and basically all rifle rounds are going to want to do that. They're going to want to turn over a lot easier. So what I'm finding is that it goes through the first barrel really easily, but when it goes through that first barrel, it destabilizes. So it's no longer spinning as fast as it needs to spin. So by the time it gets to the 2nd barrel, it's going in sideways. Okay, and then it goes through both sides of that, and by the time it gets to the 3rd barrel, you know, it's already made a couple of tumbles. It's going into that sideways, and what I found is it's either not penetrating that, or it's penetrating the 3rd barrel on one side, but not exiting the other side. So that's what I found with the .223. And now, just so you guys know, I used Full Metal Jacket, you know, cheap target ammo for both tests. You know, because basically, if I upgraded the 9mm ammo, then I'd have to upgrade the .223 as well. So basically I'm just using cheap target ammo, you know, just to kind of keep everything even. And like I said, when I shoot the .223, you know, I usually shoot these steel rims at, you know, I've actually, you can see over here how they penetrate this, kind of like a laser, all right? I'm easily able to penetrate these at 30 yards, and I've penetrated these all the way out to 250 yards. So the interesting thing that we're learning out of this is that, you know, yeah, you know, that the AR-15, it's shooting this .223 round. You know, it's got like a muzzle energy of 1,200 foot-pounds compared to the 350 foot-pounds of the 9mm. So it's got a lot more energy when it's flying through the air. But once it impacts a barrier and it starts destabilizing, the .223 round loses that energy a lot faster. So that's the interesting thing that I saw. Now, the thing I wanted to do today is I wanted to try it with the 9mm handgun and see what the effect of that would be. Yesterday I did it with the 9mm rifle, primarily for aiming purposes, because I have a red dot on my 9mm rifle, and I knew that I could line it up with my backstop, you know, all the way back there, and then just drop down a little bit. So I thought that it would be easier to aim. Also, a lot of people are using like AR-9s for home defense now. But I also want to try this with the 9mm pistol. I'm using the Glock 17. You know, like I said, just cheap old Full Metal Jacket, you know, target rounds. And let's see how far we can get. Okay, let's see what we got. All right, we usually got through the first one. We expected that. Came into the second one. We got exit holes here. And all right, so the old circles are marked, rather the old holes are marked with black. So anything that you see that doesn't have a circle around it is new. So we're definitely getting to the third barrel. That one looks like it went off at a weird angle. That went off at a weird angle. So they're definitely like dispersing. So as they're coming through the second barrel and they're hitting the third one, they're definitely starting to destabilize. With the rifle, with the 9mm rifle, we saw that they they had a lot more stability when they came through. Okay, so they're making it out of the third one. All right, these are the ones over here without the holes. I'm making it out. Let me see, do I have anything in my fourth barrel? Looks like one may get it through here. So actually nothing came down the center. Everything's kind of going off to the sides now. Because as they're coming through, they're basically being deflected off to the sides. So they're impacting, rather than staying in the center, they're tumbling off. So that's interesting. So for the most part, they're being stopped by the third barrel, which is what we saw with the AR-15. Shooting the 223 round. They were all pretty much stopping at the third barrel. We might have a slight bit more penetration with the 9mm pistol, because I do see hits on the fourth barrel, but I think it's really negligible, because at that point they've destabilized so much, and I can see that they're also dropping, that I would say that, if once it goes through the third barrel, it's not going to go any much further than that. So kind of like what I'm trying to figure out here, the purpose of this testing is, how safe are guns in general to use for home defense. And because a lot of people say, well, definitely if you use an AR-15, you're gonna over penetrate. The bullet's gonna come out of your house, and keep flying a mile and kill somebody. And that's not at all what I'm seeing. Even with the AR-15, pretty much it stops on that third barrel. And we can kind of, if I had to guess, I'd say that because the barrel is a little bit denser than the sheetrock. I would say that each side is probably equal to about 3 pieces of sheetrock. All right. If I had to guess, I mean, that's what I would say as far as strength. But once it goes through that first barrier and then the second barrier, it's losing a lot of stability. So in general, most home defense guns, 9mm, AR-15, shooting the 223, 5.56 round, they're not going. In most cases, they're not going to over penetrate. Now, I wouldn't want to do it on purpose, but if you have to use a gun for any gun, even the AR-15 for home defense, it's really not going to over penetrate much more than a 9mm. That's what I'm seeing, and I'm kind of guessing that that's also the reason why SWAT teams pretty much all use AR-15s. These are the results of my testing. And like I said, this is really not about the barrels. It's not what how many barrels can we penetrate, because you can substitute sheetrock, wood, even pumpkins, right? If we line up 100 pumpkins, the idea of the test is how many pumpkins will the 223 get through versus the 9mm. That's what the nature of this testing is. We're not looking at what barrels will stop. We're looking at what does one round do versus the other, as far as penetration. And realistically, they do the same thing. I mean, yeah, with the 9mm rifle, we got a little bit more penetration yesterday, right? We went 1 extra barrel, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. I mean, I think that we can say that they're both going to do about the same. So those are my thoughts. If you guys have any questions, feedback, comments, put in the comment section. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys soon.